Hey art therapists, welcome back to my channel. So I'm Christiane Testama, if you don't know who I am, and I'm here to help art therapists with discovering their niche, building a loyal community that values them and the work that they do. And I am here to talk today about this myth around one size fits all for copywriting. And really that's not the case. And I'll let you know why. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is to unravel this myth around this one size fits all copywriting for websites, because there's this universal language going on in the world today that, oh, I can just keep my website general, right? It's super easy and, you know, that's all I need. Well, that's not really the case nowadays. So this is where I want to unravel what the truth is around this copywriting concept for websites, because if you keep your website fairly generalized, it's not going to serve the purpose of delivering properly in terms of what you're about. So when we are talking about copywriting, it has to come from a very specific place to address a specific problem and to speak to a very specific audience that is connected to this problem. So this is where I'm going to pop that aside, that one size fits all, and say, know your audience before you even start with copywriting. And the reason why I want to say this is because when you generalize yourself, you are not particularly getting clear with anything. You're just stating, hi, I'm this, and I do this, and these are my services. It's not really tapping into an emotional connection to anything. There's no story behind it or any kind of results that you would bring. And you're not really touching on the pain points that maybe that specific client is facing. So this is where I really want to come in and talk to you guys a little bit more of knowing your audience. My takeaway number one is to know your ideal client, because generalization does not work anymore. It's all about understanding a specific person that you want to help. And the way that you go about this is creating a client profile. And a profile helps to dabble into different areas of your client. So if I was to draw this out real quick, so I'm just going to be very basic with this, but you're going to have a client profile. So it's going to look like a table. So you're going to tap in a little bit to their demographics. You're going to tap into their story, their needs, possible solutions for them, their desires, and their pain points. And maybe even their goals. And maybe the last one we could say of their online behavior, because that's really important when it comes to website designs, right? So there's a whole avenue of understanding a person inside and out. So you really need to know these components to really craft content that's more specific, that's actually speaking to somebody. And I think another thing to really address here is you also have to learn about their language too, because not everybody speaks the same, right? Everyone holds different values and beliefs around maybe the languages that they use and some of the wording. You want to match that when you're actually writing your content. So use this as a framework to help you understand this type of person. And you can actually even conduct some surveys or interviews to get a little bit deeper if you're unsure of your ideal client in terms of what they want and what they need and what their pain points are. Those are things to really address when you're talking to your ideal client. You'll see how easy it is afterwards when you really get clear of who this person is. Writing is going to be second nature to you. 3 here is this power of storytelling, because when you're using generic content, you're not really connecting to a story, you're just being factual. So this is where we need to bring in some emotion into the piece, into writing, because now that you understand your ideal client, some of their pain points, now you want to bring in an element of story where you want to maybe relate some experiences that you had that potentially they might have also experienced, and try to build the bridge, right? Because that's the idea. You want to connect, yourself to them, to the ideal client, so they can say, oh, she gets me. Yes, that's exactly what I need. And she's reading my mind right now in this content. And that's exactly what storytelling can do. That's the power that it can hold. And storytelling can also help illustrate something. So instead of being factual all the time, let's be more imaginative and metaphorical when it comes to explaining a concept. So, you could say, have you been feeling like you've been sinking in the sand because you have so much weight on your shoulders and you just feel like you keep getting smaller and smaller and everything is getting bigger and bigger? So yeah, you can get very interesting with your metaphors to, break the ice a little bit instead of being so stiff in your writing. You make it more interesting and playful. And when you're talking to them on your website, you're going to make it more conversational, as if you're sitting at a cafe with them over coffee and talking about maybe this potential collaboration together and helping them maybe overcome, some kind of stress in their lives, or decluttering their mind to some degree. So using these stories and connecting to the results that they want, you can really paint that picture so well, because even when using metaphors to depict what they're visualizing, so maybe you could use a metaphor of, I would say, feel stronger like a tree. So maybe let's just say the client is having troubles creating a stronger self because they can't set boundaries. So you could say in your copy being like, oh, if you're feeling, a little bit like rugged and, wilted, and you want a stronger base, a stronger trunk like a tree so that you could stand tall and wide and big with feeling like a tree, then I can, bring that to you. So those are interesting ways of telling a story. You're tapping into regular things that maybe that person would see on a daily basis and relate it to what results you bring to them, because that's really all they care about. They want to know what you bring to them and what they would feel in the end. So this aspect of storytelling will really lock them in. So number 4 that I would love to talk about here is this collaboration of visuals and text when incorporating copywriting on your website, because you could write a Bible on your website. You can write a chapter book on your website. You could write a newsletter on your website, but that's a lot of words. What about pictures, right? Those are universal languages that everyone will understand. Pictures speak louder than words. And sometimes the pictures need the words to support it. So you need to ensure that pictures and words are working together on your website to create the best experience possible for them. Because really, if we only had pictures or if we only had text, it doesn't fully complete the overall storytelling. So don't think that one is better than the other. They need together, they need each other for it to be the best experience, because too much text will certainly overwhelm the user and they will not come back. When you have the balance of both worlds, it makes it more accommodating, more inviting for them to stay, because, well, it's kind of like a picture book, right? Your website is like a book, if you really think about it. Your beginning page is the cover, and all the pages below are the inside contents. So just think to yourself, you know, do you like chapter books? And does your ideal client like chapter books that have no pictures? Sometimes they would say no, sometimes they would say yes. So it's going to depend on your ideal client, really, how you should be articulating your pages. But on a universal level, it's really good to have images and icons and text all working together in unison, because at least it gives your eye a break sometimes when reading really long text. It will really clear any communication gaps as well. So for example, let's just say lots of your clients right now don't understand the concept of art therapy and how it could solve their problem. So using pictures can actually help solve that problem and clear any communication gaps that they have in their mind. Because in all honesty, you know, pictures can really change someone's perspective on art therapy, or just anything in general. They have to see it to believe it. That's part of the reason why some of them are a bit skeptical about it, because there's no social proof. And if you have pictures to show or videos to share, that really locks them in and maybe allows them to be a little bit more flexible in trying it out, being more receptive. So see how images could be a best friend to you when trying to get your message across. And the fifth takeaway that I want you guys to start implementing is testing. Do a lot of testing. I call this A/B testing because, again, this digital space is always going to be a work in progress. It's always going to be forever changing, because the digital space changes quicker than you might expect. So it's always good to stay on top of these things and to really look to your friends, family, favorite clients to continue to get feedback from them, to see if you can implement better ideas or better functionalities into your website. Because again, it's always about performance. It's always about the experience. The aesthetics is kind of that second nature, but the functionality is by far the most prioritized thing, and something that clients really care about the most, because if they can't get from A to B, then they're already not going to come back to your website. So continue to test and iterate things. Keep looking back at your website to see what you can do better. Don't just leave it and forget it, because this is something that you are committed to continuing to build and craft. Those are my takeaways today for copywriting and creating more specific copy that is more heartfelt and much more approachable, more empathetic, and more rich in its storytelling, because it's going to illustrate things much easier, come across much more clearer, and the communication gaps are going to really fall out of place because you've been more specific and clear with them. They know who you're talking to, they feel comfortable working with you, and then that's going to really escalate the relationship and connection. So I hope that those takeaways were valuable to you, and definitely implement them into your website, you know, when you can, because you'll see a huge difference. So again, thank you for tuning in for today's video, and I hope to see you in my upcoming videos. Bye!